Topic number 1. You ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's get him. Milo wants us to go. I got my fresh drink here. Haven't had a drink in a while. Fresh drink here. Here we go. Ready to go.
You just got chucked.
Alright, let's get it started. Episode 6 of Chucked. How we doing?
It seems like we haven't been around. We missed it. We missed about a week and a half.
Mm-hmm.
We missed it. Now, did we miss that week and a half? Because I think the last time I thought we had one of our best conversations. I think my picks at the end of the day weren't any good. So maybe that's, I don't know. Maybe that's what.
Yeah, episode was 5. Kind of.
Well, the problem is, okay, sometimes this is not, I'm not going to cry over this because I'm a big boy, but sometimes I got to make a pick on a game way too early in a week. Okay, if I'm picking Sunday's games, to be honest with you, if I was putting them out there to the world, okay, and I was getting paid for it, okay, I wouldn't make my predictions until Sunday morning, okay? I'm making predictions on games. People are getting injured 3 or 4 days, before the game starts. Coaches are cutting people. Different things are happening. COVID, players are being sat out. So I've got hurt. I'm not crying, but from now on, nothing we can do. I guess we put this together and let's just whatever. Okay, it was a bad week, but there was a couple of my picks there that would have changed if I could have made them, closer to game time. But it is what it is. So let's move on.
I don't remember your picks. And I don't bet.
I don't remember them either.
If I bet, I'd be 100 for 100. Alright, so the first topic that I wanted to go over is...
By the way, hope everybody had a nice Thanksgiving. I picked up 7 pounds. Turkey,
what are you at now?
Turkey up. No, I lost about 30 pounds and I picked up 7 of it. I went from 285 to 250. And now I'm back up to 255, 256. I picked up 5-6 pounds because of Thanksgiving.
Wow.
So now I'll have to watch it until Christmas time. But I'm a sucker for turkey, mashed potato, and stuffing and corn. That's it. I only had 3 meals.
Yeah, I mean, you've had, I think ever since Thanksgiving, you've had a turkey every night.
Yeah, I cooked the turkey for the heck of it last night. Me and Kyle ate turkey last night. I put a turkey on, and we ate it last night around 11 o'clock at night. Last night again.
All right. Topic number 1. You ready?
Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's get him. Let's get him. Let's get him. Milo wants us to go. I got my fresh drink here. Haven't had a drink in a while. Fresh drink here. Here we go. Ready to go.
All right, we're going to dive into college coaches leaving their current teams to go to another team. Like an example is Brian Kelly. How do you feel about that, leaving when the season hasn't even ended?
Well, there's a couple different things. Generally speaking, coaches leaving colleges to go to other colleges has been happening for a while now. So very generally, it's there. I guess it's unfair that coaches can leave and players can't. Although there's a few more different. It's loosened up a little bit and players can find their way out there. I've always felt that it was tough that some college coach would go into someone's living room and says, a lot of people think that players go to the school first and the coach is second. Boy, is that being proven wrong, okay? Look at that quarterback that was going to Oklahoma, okay? And that guy took off and went to what? You went to USC, okay? Man, that quarterback took off and said, bye-bye, see you later. I've said for years, there's 15, 20 big schools, all of them, whether the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Notre Dames, USC, UCLA, Oregon, Oklahoma. There's 15 to 20 big, major, huge schools, 25, 30, whatever, okay? They can go to any one of those schools and get into the NFL, any one of them, okay? But they're going to go with the coach because the coach has made certain promises to them. So, generally speaking, I think that coaches are moving on. Now, you hit a sore spot me with Brian Kelly, okay? Because Brian Kelly, he left. There's no doubt about it, and he's going on to where's he going down to? I even forget now. Kelly's going to
LSU.
He's going to LSU, okay? I think personally he's probably making a mistake. He probably could have stayed at Notre Dame, got close to the same amount of money. Maybe if they upped it a little bit, he could have stayed there. His competition is going to be much, much tougher. Ryan Clark on ESPN did point out that he's a good
Ryan Clark.
He pointed out that Kelly's going to go there. He's going to win, just like the guy that just left won. The last 3 coaches at LSU have all won a title. They're going to win because they're going to get great coaches. Now, they're going to win like Saban and some of those other schools? No. But they're going to win, all right, because they get great players. He just doesn't think he's a good fit there. What bothered me about that is he hit the lottery on Saturday because 2 weeks ago, Notre Dame beat Stanford on Saturday night, okay? And I'll tell you right now, if I was to put some money down, when Notre Dame beat Stanford on Saturday night and kicked their ass, okay, they needed just one of any 4 things to happen. They needed Oklahoma State to lose, which they lost. They either needed Cincinnati to lose, Michigan to lose, or Alabama to lose. Well, I didn't think Cincinnati was going to lose, and I didn't think that Michigan was going to lose. But I thought, Oklahoma State was going to maybe lose, and I thought that Alabama would not beat Georgia. Okay, so I thought that where he went wrong was he could have woken up on Sunday morning, and he could have spoken to LSU and said, hey, wait a minute now. There's a very good chance that if Alabama or Cincinnati loses, I'm walking out on a team that I made promises to these guys for, and they're going to the Final Four. He could have waited a week. But it was his ego and wanted to get into all the recruits. He screwed those players by taking off on them before they found out that they weren't going to the Final Four. Boy, did he hit the lottery when Cincinnati, Michigan, and Alabama won. Because if Alabama loses that game to Georgia, okay, Notre Dame's in there with Oklahoma State losing, okay? So that's why he's a scumbag. He's a scumbag. As a matter of fact, just the heck of it, 2 nights ago I was out having some dinner in Wayne or someplace, and I ran into a guy, and the owner said, oh my God, there's a Notre Dame fan. This guy's 75 years old. He went to Notre Dame. And he said to me, what are you rooting against Notre Dame? I said, no, I was hoping they get in there. He said, and here's a Notre Dame guy. He said, let me tell you something. 90% of the alumni, they didn't like him before he got there. They didn't like him while he was there. And they didn't like him after he left, okay? The alumni got him that job, but he never helped them out, whatever, okay? So to answer your question, I think in a lot of cases, I think there's nothing wrong with a college coach leaving when his contract is up. When his contract is up. If he signs it, he's going into these college coaches go into these college kids, these high school kids, and they make them, okay, pledge to that school for the next 2, 3, or 4 years, whatever they're there. Sign a contract. If the contract is up and then you want to leave, go. Fine with me. But balking out on your contract, okay, that's bad. Generally speaking, it was bad, and the Notre Dame coach even made it worse. So I don't mind anybody moving on, no doubt about it, okay? But taking off before your contract expired, because how many high school kids go to that school because of you, and they know you got 3 or 4 more years left, and they think that you're going to be there. Okay? So
Brian Kelly is a scumbag.
He's a scumbag because not only had his contract, okay, but he's a scumbag both ways because I've never, again, he hit the lottery when all those teams lost because he would have been a dirtbag, scumbag, low life, nothing, okay, to have walked out on that team if they went into the Final Four, okay? And guess what? He ain't going to win anything at LSU, okay, because he's down there. He's getting off that plane. He thinks he's president of the United States, whatever, okay? And come to fuck out, talking to 2 or 3 different people that went to Notre Dame, they never liked the guy to begin with. But to answer your question, of all the guys that have done it, he's the worst scumbag of all time. But on top of that, they should never leave before they go into high school kids and say, come play for me and spend your next 3 or 4 years here, and I'm going to be here. So if they leave, they lied to those guys. If you leave before, they should sit there and say, guess what? Come play for me. I've got 2 years left of my contract. I'm going to be here for at least 2 more years and hopefully longer, but I'll be here for at least to fulfill my contract. So they don't fulfill their contract. Basically, that's it. Simple as that. They're asking these young kids to come for them. Leave, but wait till your contract expires. And I think 100% of the people would agree with me.
All
Next.
right. Topic number 2. The Final Four, college football. Alabama versus Cincinnati and Michigan versus Georgia. Who you got?
Boy, did I make a big mistake. I thought that Georgia, there was no way Alabama was going to be able to beat Georgia. I thought Alabama could compete with them up until they played Auburn. They struggled so bad against Auburn, and they pulled that game out in the last second against an Auburn team that doesn't even belong in the top 20. Georgia.
I've never seen Cincinnati play.
Georgia had given up 6.9 points a game, 7 points a game. But then in hindsight, I'm looking at it, and I'm looking at who Alabama played all year long, and I'm looking at who Georgia played all year long. Okay, Alabama by far played a much tougher schedule all along than Georgia did. Okay, and Alabama came in there, and that quarterback was playing. He looked like Jones back there. Alabama's number one. I guess Michigan's number two.
And you never liked that quarterback either.
No,
the young guy.
I guess I didn't like him because I argued this with Kyle all the time, right? He said to me, the guy's got great stats, but in 2 or 3 different games, I saw him forcing the ball, and I guess, he doesn't quite have the weapons that Jones had, and it was unfair because I was actually comparing him to what Jones was doing, but boy, was he ice on the other day, and Alabama's number one, Cincinnati's number 4. Whether Alabama wins by 1 point or 50 points, that game's over with. There's no way Cincinnati could even come close to competing in that game. Maybe some turnovers or something crazy could happen to keep the game close, but that's all over. Michigan, Georgia, boy, I'll tell you, let's just say this. Alabama wants Georgia to win that game over Michigan. Michigan's on fire, and the best game out there would be Michigan, Alabama. Again, Alabama, over and done with Cincinnati. Michigan, Georgia. Based on how I saw that offense going, I'm going to put Alabama and Michigan in the final. And it's a coin toss. It's a coin toss, and I would give Alabama a slight little edge over Michigan, because probably there's a few players on Alabama that have played in a few bigger games. But I wouldn't have said this 2 weeks ago, but I think Michigan's going to take out Georgia. Alabama's going to take out Cincinnati. And it's going to be...
I think Georgia wins, and then I think Georgia beats Alabama.
No, there's no way... watching Alabama...
I like Georgia.
Watching Alabama and Georgia play, now I'm convinced that Georgia was overrated because they were blowing people out and they weren't giving up any points. But everybody go around. Look at the schedule that Alabama played. Look at the schedule that Georgia played. Okay? And even though they're both in the same SEC, there's like 14 teams over there. And Alabama by far played the tougher of the schedule all along there. Okay? And maybe they had an off night against Auburn. I don't know. Maybe it was an off night. That's the game that made me be concerned. Okay, more so than their loss. So I got Michigan's on a roll. Michigan's like 10-2 against it. Not only they're winning. They're 10-2 against the spread. They're dominating. Okay, I've got let's get it. Alabama against Michigan, and I'll give. I think it's going to be one of the greatest games of all time, and Alabama wins it at the end.
Wow. All right. Cheers to that. All right, last topic of the night. I want to talk about Patriots and Bills play tonight. I just want to talk about what you think of the Patriots, Mac Jones, and a lot of talk about Josh Allen, too.
Well, anybody that's been listening to these podcasts, okay, I predicted 4 or 5 weeks ago that Buffalo was not the team. And when Buffalo was 4-1 or 5-1, wherever they were, they played nothing. They beat one good team. They beat up a bunch on Little Sisters of the Poor. Okay, the Patriots were 2-4. But they were playing better during that period of time. So for quite a while, I've been telling everybody that Buffalo was overrated. That came to fruition. The Patriots for real. Buffalo looked like they were really struggling. They won last week against a torn-up New Orleans team. I'll say this. Tonight is a very difficult game to predict. And you people are all probably going to get this podcast after the game is over. We're doing this 2 hours before game time. The weather's supposed to be 31 degrees, windy, stormy, snow, some rain. If it was 65 degrees, the Patriots win this game. Their defense is better, their offense is better, they're playing better. I think Jones is more composed. than Allen. Allen's capable of making more mistakes, I think, than Jones. I think the coordinator for the Patriots put Jones in a much better position not to make mistakes. Sometimes they give Allen too much of a loose rope to go out there. That being said, everybody thinks they're heroes. If this game was 65 degrees, I got the Patriots winning this game by 8 to 10 points. Tonight, it's snowing, raining. Everyone says, can Jones play in bad weather? We don't know. He never played in bad weather in Alabama. He's never played in bad weather here. We have no idea whether Mac Jones can play in cold weather. This isn't like Tom Brady. After 5 or 6 years, he proved he could play in cold weather. We have anybody that says Mac Jones can't play in cold weather, there's no history with it. Anyone that says he can, there's no history. Allen has probably played in a few more games up there in cold weather, okay? But there isn't a lot of history, okay? They're talking about running games. I don't know. Maybe this team's got a better running team. This team's got a better running game. That's in good conditions. All these stats that people come up with, that's football played in good weather. If tonight is windy and stormy, anything's off the wall. So, I could say Buffalo's going to win. I could say the Patriots. I'm going to end it here. I think in good weather, the Patriots win this game by 8 to 10 points. So I'm being forced to pick something here. I think maybe because the weather is going to be kind of iffy, I think the Patriots, because of Belichick and Williams, have a better chance of. I think Mac Jones, will concede and go a little bit more towards
conservative.
No. I think they're capable of changing the game plan before the game because of the weather conditions. I think Josh Allen is capable of playing more to his instincts, which may go negative because of the weather. So because of that, I'm going to give the Patriots the edge here, and I think they win that. Now, we're going to end the podcast here.
Well, I had one. I was going to ask you something else, but what were you going to say?
Something came a little bit long ago. I love old-time basketball and stuff, and I know it's Korean.
Okay, so you're going to go on for a while on this. Let me ask you this.
Yes.
A couple weeks ago, I asked you who was going to win the Super Bowl. You said Tampa Bay. Are you sticking with that?
I'm gonna stick with Tampa Bay, not because I'm gonna stick with it. It's the Rams.
I'm sticking with the Rams.
The Rams are strong. Arizona's strong. Tampa Bay's strong. Arizona and Green Bay, obviously there. Kansas City's coming on. I just think that
Patriots. They have a shot.
Who?
Patriots.
Oh, the Patriots have a legitimate shot.
Wow.
The Patriots. If you told me right now. I think if you ask me who the best chance was in the AFC, I'm going to go with Kansas City right now. Their defense is playing very well. Something's wrong with their offense. Hill's dropping passes. Kelsey's not getting open like he used to. Mahomes, I'm not going to get into this, but somebody brought up a very good point that he's throwing unnatural passes when he doesn't have to throw them. He scrambles. He throws these things like this. When he's in trouble, he throws these unorthodox passes. Chris Collinsworth pointed out that a lot of times when it calls for a natural pass, he's throwing it unorthodox, which means he overthrew 5 passes the other day. Hill's dropping passes. But I think they're going to get a little bit better going on. And I'd love to see Kansas City in. But right now, if you told me, I think it's Kansas City and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl.
Again?
Again.
What?
I think it's Kansas City and Tampa Bay in the Super Bowl again.
That's ridiculous.
Okay.
I don't think either of them are going to be in the Super Bowl.
Okay. But I got to throw this in here, okay? I love the fact that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar came out today, and he said there's no way in the world that LeBron James will ever be an all-time great with the Lakers. He says, if you're a great player, you don't have to yell and scream and tell everybody. Magic Johnson never paraded around and said how great he was. Jerry West never paraded around and said how great he was. I never paraded around. Great players, when I played, didn't have to tell you how great they were. You knew they were great. And I don't even know what this instance was, but I guess about a week ago or something, LeBron James threw up a 3-point shot and over everybody, and he was jumping around like a clown all over the place.
Music.
He was jumping around like a clown. He said, you know what to do? You hit a great shot, walk off like a pro. I grew up when people played the game. Okay, now they're all like, he said LeBron James, he said he's a great player. He doesn't have to do this kind of stuff. Today, they're all concerned about the media. He said they're all concerned about somebody saying something negative about him. Go out there, play the game like a pro, walk off, and your destiny will be your history, and everything is fine. I love Jabbar to come out there. He called out LeBron James, okay, for showboating after he hit that 3-point shot over. I don't know who he hit it over. I don't know if it won the game, but he said he looked like a clown. He looked like a clown. He said, when I played, somebody hit a game-winning shot. We congratulated each other. We didn't play to the crowd. We didn't embarrass other players. We went out there. We knew we were good. End of story.
So, actually, because you brought that up, LeBron, we missed this. This was like a week and a half ago. But I wanted to talk about it when he got suspended. You thought he did it on purpose. Everyone thought he did it on purpose. I don't know. Seemed like he was getting boxed out. He got a little aggravated. Tried to give him a little forearm shiver, and I don't think he meant to annihilate him.
But you know what? I don't even think. I don't care if he got suspended. I didn't care if he didn't get suspended. Okay, they played. This is girls basketball the way they played years ago. Whatever he did or whatever the other guy did, neither one of them would have been called 25 years ago. Years ago, they played basketball like men. You went out there, you played, and it was almost like a foul was called today. A flagrant foul today was a regular foul back then. Okay, they play like a bunch of girls. Guys are throwing their. You ever see Jerry West run up and down the court like Jason Tatum, throwing his hands up? He hit me. James Harden, he hit me. Kyrie Irving, they're all crying. I'll tell you, you know what I mean? At least I give Durant credit. He doesn't run around like a girl complaining, get fouled. Back then, okay, you play the goddamn game. If you get fouled, you know what to do? You missed a foul. You went back down there. How many times did Jason Tatum get fouled? Thinks he gets fouled, and he's looking at the referee. Meanwhile, this guy goes down there and scores a layup. Okay, not to pick on him, whatever. Okay, but so Jabbar's right. Okay, go out there, play the goddamn game like a man. Play the game like a goddamn man. They're all playing it like pussies and babies today. Simple as that. Play it like men. These guys, these NBA players should all go back there and watch films of the 60s, the 70s, and some in the 80s, okay, and see the game, the way the game was played. Crying out loud, okay? Dennis Rodman said the same thing. He said, I'm not even going to tell you what he called the players today. I can't say it on this podcast here. There's probably some young people listening. But look up and see what Dennis Rodman said about these wusses who are playing today. Sign out. Here we go.
Look it up.
Hey, great game tonight. Let's go watch it.
Let's go!
You just got chucked.